Guys, I'm finally doing it. Yokai Watch 3 review time, baby. I've been wanting to make this video for so long, so let's get into it. First of all, for those who don't know, Yokai Watch is about a kid named Nate who finds a watch that lets him see yokai. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So Yokai Watch 3, unlike the previous two games, which took place in Japan, takes place in good old America. And guess what? You don't only play as Nate, you also get to play with Hailey Anne. Wow! Hailey Anne, jokes aside, is actually a pretty fun character, so let's get into it. So the game's main premise is kind of a mystery-oriented. So you basically go around solving different mysteries, and that's pretty cool. Also, each character has their own storyline until they eventually merge together. So let's get started with Hailey Anne's story. Hailey Anne is an anime-obsessed girl who, like Nate, also has a yokai watch. But instead of Jibanyan as her main partner, her yokai is Usapion, who I think is really cool yokai with a cool design. Hailey's side of the story features a detective agency where you basically help yokai with various mysteries to progress through the story. Most of the missions are fun, but there are some that are insanely boring and repetitive. But overall, it's pretty fun. My favorite thing about Hailey Anne's chapters is the accusation of Origin Yon, a customizable yokai that adds a fun twist to the game and allows you to play with the yokai you created. Okay, to wrap up Hailey Anne's side of the story, I'm going to review all her chapters and tell you my favorite one. In Chapter 1, you basically just kind of get used to your surroundings and collect some rocket parts, pretty boring. In Chapter 2, we meet with a scientist and launch a rocket ship, overall pretty boring. In Chapter 3, you meet the Sailor Cuties, which are Hailey Anne's favorite anime characters. Also, you get to do some terror time, so overall, pretty fun chapter. Chapter 4, you basically just do tons of quests from the detective agency. Each side quest is different, so it's pretty fun. Overall, some of the quests were good, but the overwhelming of them were just boring. Chapter 5, you build a robot and battle, but I mean the robot was really cool, and it introduced a few fun new mechanics that were honestly so fun. So Chapter 5 was probably my favorite. Alright, time to check out Nate's side. Nate's story is based around three main things: mystery, America, and Buck. Buck is a kid who, guess what, can also see yokai, so that's the thing. Also, the creators of the game really forced the American aspect. I mean, it looks like most of the yokai were designed purely off of American stereotypes. Also, there's this rapping duck named Lil Kappa, and just look at him. I think it's hilarious. Even though I did a small overview of the game, I want to go a little more in depth on one of my favorite mechanics: rafting. I love rafting in this game because it's so fun. You can raft down the stream and go to all these different places, and I personally love the concept of adventure it adds to the games. And after you raft around for a while, you fight this guy, Agent X. Agent X is one of the main bosses of the game, and he's a fun fight the first time. But you fight him 5 times throughout this game, and it's literally the same fight over and over. Okay, and like I did for Hailey Anne's chapter, I'm going to go over all of Nate's chapters and then tell you one's my favorite. Alright, let's get into it. Chapter 1, like Hailey Anne's, was pretty boring, but at least you got to be in a new location and look at some American yokai, so it was pretty fun. Chapter 2, unlike Chapter 1, I really love this chapter. In this chapter, you meet Buck, who is one of my favorite characters, and you get a fun boss fight against Juggernaut. What more could you ask for? In Chapter 3, you get to go to a haunted supermarket and get chased by zombies, and this video game is so fun. In Chapter 4, you go rafting and meet Steve Jobs, the Yokai Watch equivalent of Steve Jobs, and that's where you learn about the UFO. In Chapter 5, all the previous chapters were leading to this chapter, and it was pretty good. We saw a UFO and fought Agent X for the first time. Overall, pretty good. My favorite of Nate's chapters is definitely Chapter 3. It was really cool, and Zombie Night is just so fun. Okay, so before we talk about the next 5 chapters, I want to talk some features that this game has that's worth mentioning. First, the battle format is amazing. It has a ton of cool features like the ability to dodge ultimates, but the problem is your opponents can also dodge ultimates, so ultimates just got nerfed a lot in general. Other than that, the format is great. Second, they added Forbidden Fruit, which is basically Yokai's equivalent of a Master Vault, which I really like. And third is Blaster's Tea, but that deserves a whole video of its own, so maybe I'll make a video on Blaster's Tea someday. Okay, now on to the last 5 chapters. You guys, I'm so excited. Chapter 6 features Yopple HQ, which is a tech place where the Yokai Watch Dream models were invented. The chapter is boring, but the fact that the stories combine and you get to use both Nate and Hailey Anne's yokai makes it pretty fun. Chapter 7 is awesome. In this chapter, you go to Hazeltine Mansion, which turns out to be Buck's house. There's also a fun boss battle. Overall, great chapter. Chapter 8 is my favorite chapter in the whole game. It takes place in Dukesville, and it has a Wild West theme. And it's awesome. You can ride horses, wear cowboy clothes, and roam around the desert. And you battle against Agent X. This is probably the best chapter of the game. Chapter 9. In this chapter, you go to New Yokai City, where the UFO is, and you have to battle these annoying-ass henchmen like a million times. Honestly, hate this chapter. Chapter 10. This is the final chapter, and it's awesome. You battle Agent X again, but this time you realize the leader of it all was the Ghoulfather, who was a really cool boss. After you take down the Ghoulfather, the game is over. Overall, this game is amazing, and there's so much more I can talk about. There's a whole entire post-game I haven't even mentioned. But if you guys wanted me to make a video highlighting the post-game in the near future, I bet I'll make one of those. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure to like and subscribe. And let's keep Yokai Watch going. Have a conversation in the comments. Till next time, peace.